let's just recap what we've just seen there. Each Explorer course consists of 3 modules with the tasks to be completed each. Module 1 is the learner will think about all their strengths and their personalities. Module 2, the learner explores the industry sector and of the roles within that. Module 3, the learner will be planning on what to be doing next. We also saw that there is an overview of the job opportunities in the sector. We saw the progression routes that were further down in the list. The recap tool for learners so that they can save and edit as they move along. And then, of course, the all-important tutor guidance, which again I stress for you guys to really have a look at. Now, the tutor guidance, it maps over to the Pearson Level 1 qualification and also to the unit. There's also additional unit certification for both the business and construction. We've just seen that because there was 2 units there, 2 sector units there for business. There's some mapping to vocational skills unit for the early years, if that's an area that you are interested in. And you've also seen that the mapping of the module activities over to the assessment criteria, which saves you a lot of time, and it will guide learners on how to complete all of those activities. And then, of course, we saw the tutor view of the recap tool, so you are able to access that learner work. So I'm going to pause for questions, which I'm sure you've had coming through. So Sapna, do you have any questions for us at all?
Yes, there are a couple of questions. I will read them out, Christine, and then you can decide who's best to answer those questions. So question 1, are these qualifications only open to those who are 19 plus?
They're not just for 19 plus. No, you can go below that, but you'd have to be thinking about what sort of programs you would put them into and how you would fund them. Rahini, do you have anything further on that?
No, I think what you said is right. I think it depends on obviously the provision that the customer has been approved to deliver, and hence where they're drawing down the funding for that and which part that funding comes from. I believe we have got the offer would be open from 16 plus, but we can check that and get back to on that question as well.
Okay. Next one, Sapna.
Okay, we've got one more question. Are there enough units available to gain a certificate in work skills that can be funded via the AEB? And what are the costs involved?
So we'll come to the cost in a shortness. As long as you do the units that are specified in each of the courses for work skills, you will gain that level 1 award in work skills. So the learner will gain that qualification. Does that answer that? Yeah. Okay. Okay. No more questions?
Not at this stage, no.
Stage. Okay, hang on to them, guys. We've got a lot more coming. Okay. Let's go. So how do you support your learners with the Explorer courses? You need to familiarise yourself with the module activities so you can guide them, because there is quite a bit to be getting through. And as you're aware, this is an online program. It doesn't have to be totally online, but that's kind of the purpose behind it. So you really need to understand the activities for your learners. Read through the tutor guide and understand how these activities have been mapped to the assessment criteria for the qualification. You need to guide your learners on how to complete the various activities across the 3 modules to meet the assessment requirements. And I think that map at the end of the tutor guide is so key for this. We'd like you to provide feedback on module 1 activities before you progress on to the next module. So once module 1 is banked, go on to module 2. Once module 2 is banked, go on to module 3, because it spaces it out nicely to the learners. And you can structure the support sessions to suit you. I mean, it's very, very flexible. So, you know, it's to suit your time, it's to suit the requirements of your learners. So there's plenty there that you can be doing to help support your learners. But Every learner is different and every cohort is different. So you can do this program over maybe 5, 7 or 10 days. The learner could be at different stages in the program. So it may be useful to maybe give feedback on module 1 to all of your learners at the same time in the same cohort. So the learners are all on the right track, or you might want to do it individually if you've got a certain learner that's flying by. But this is just an example of a 5-day schedule. It's not prescriptive, it's just to give you an idea. And as you can see, we've chunked it down. Day 1, first of all, the contact 1, a 1-hour group induction with the tutor, a 1 hour familiarizing the learner with the program itself. It's talking about 3 hours of working on the tasks in module 1, 2 hours discussing with their friends and family for feedback, and then to submit that first module over to the tutor. So, and then it goes on into day 2, day 3, day 4, and day 5. So this is just to give you an idea. But as I say, if you want to do it over 5 days, fine. 7, 5, over 2 weeks, it really is entirely up to you, because it is that flexible. But how do you enroll onto the online BTEC Explorers? I hear you cry, but let me show you. So let's hop back on again to the Learning Hub, and we're still under the Instructor tab here. We use the recap button to look at the learner work, but the other tab that will be useful is membership. If you click on that, in order to enroll your learners, you simply add in their email addresses here. You add in the email address, so it could be me. I've shortened my surname there for time. And then I'm enrolling Christine into a learner, and the reason it could be whatever reason it is, could be just new learner, whatever it is. And then you click auto enroll and notify user by email and click the enroll button. That will then ping an email over to the learner, and what the learner would then do is simply click onto that email, and then they will be enrolled. Okay. Equally, if you've got a learner who starts with you and then they decide they don't want to be on the program, you can simply unenroll them. So it's a very easy process, but you can also enroll your colleagues on this. If you're going to be a tutor, this is how you would enroll them, and then you'd simply put them on as a support, and then that way they'll be able to get access to the learner work when they submit their learning work. So that's how simple it is to do that. Okay. Onwards and upwards. A little bit more information on the how it all happens when it comes to enrolling learners. You need to register your learners onto the relevant bundle on Edexcel Online, and we'll come to that in a shortness. You would then register and set up an account on the Pearson Learning Hub. The onboarding process for the Pearson Learning Hub is quite simple. All you need to do to set up an account, you will receive an email from us, and that way you would start the validation for the account. Once you've validated your account, it would be a question of setting up your custom course cards. You saw them on the other screen where they were all sort of like laid out, and a member of Pearson staff would be supporting you doing that. And then, as I've just been showing you, would enroll the learners onto the program, and then request the learners to set up the Learning Hub account and validate their email address. So quite simple process for them to be running through. More on the digital credentials, which we talked about. So all of these courses have digital credentials. We've partnered and are working closely with Credly. They used to be known as Acclaim. You probably know them under that name, but now they're called Credly. And they are the world leaders in digital credentialing. They have a robust and secure platform conforming to GDPR. Learners can then share their badges on the likes of LinkedIn and Twitter and Facebook. They could embed their badge on a personal website if they have one. They may want to send it via an email to a contact or an employer. And they could also download the badge as a visual, maybe on a resume, a CV, or email signature. We got all American then, didn't we? But this is for tutors that would need to confirm what type of badge they have, because there's only the two that we're offering, which is a learning badge or a validation badge for learners. And the way they would do that is that we would be providing a template for the tutor to complete. And the simple way of claiming those badges is you would complete the template, send into Pearson email address. Pearson would then upload the learner details onto the credit platform, and then the learner will automatically receive a digital badge claim email, and the learner simply claims their digital badge. So we've talked of the learning or validation badges, and here we have the 4 attributes for the 4 digital badges that are out there at the moment. So the experience badge it's the basic badge really, maybe for attending events or volunteering. It's an unmeasured badge, so it's not structured learning, it's not measured, but they have had an experience somewhere. So that's what that badge is for. The next badge is the learning badge. This does have structured learning around it, where the learner has to meet, but it's not measured. So a learner who maybe took a whole course, but didn't take the qualification, just did the course without the measurement, so without the accrediting the course, but they still completed the course, could gain a learning badge because it's not measured. The third one is the validation badge. This is measured for those who, in this case, of the Explorer courses, completed the qualification, and the activities have been validated by the tutor, that the learners have completed and met all of the assessment criteria. And finally, we come to the certification digital credential badge. It's more for those longer duration programs. It's all to do with being industry recognised and validating that sort of achievement. It could be a diploma, maybe a 2-year certificate, or level 2 or level 3. But for the purpose of the Explorer courses, we have the learning and the validation badges only, and they are becoming more and more popular, I have to say. On to the pricing, people. So we have 3 bundles on offer. Option 1 is the BTEC Level 1 Award in Work Skills, plus all of the Learning Hub content, and that is priced at £30.50. Option 2 is the Level 1 Unit certification, so not the full qualification, just the sector unit, plus the Learning Hub content at £30.50. And then the third option, you get the whole shebang, so you get the Level 1 Award in Work Skills, plus the Level 1 sector unit certification, and all of the Learning Hub content at the price of £35, which is really good value for money at £35. So there are your 3 options. Option 1 is the qualification plus the Learning Hub content, £30.50. Option 2, it's the unit certification and the Learning Hub content at £30.50. And option 3, all 3 for £35. And that's it. We went by nice and swimmingly. Okay, so Sapna, any questions come through?
Yeah, just one question, Christine. So I'll read it out. Do you need an estimate start and end date, or can it operate as a true roll-on, roll-off program for individuals?
This is meant to be roll-on, roll-off, because we're quite aware of the likes of the work program, whereby it's usually, I think it's around a 2-week program with links to Job Centre Plus. So it is for roll-on, roll-off. It wouldn't be if you started it, say, I don't know, in November, you wouldn't wait until July before you got certification. Okay. Okay.
There's a question on price. I think it was just really quick clarification. Is a price per learner, which I think it is price per learner.
Yes, it's per learner. £30.50 per learner for the qualification and the Learning Hub, and for the certification and the Learning Hub, and £35 per learner for all 3.
Okay, I'll move on to the next question. What would it cost to register and certificate on the course without the use of this? Just as a comparison.
Without the use of?
Without the use of this.
One for Rahini. There you go, Rahini.
Sorry, can you repeat the question again, Sapna?
Yes. What would it cost to register and certificate on the course without the use of this, please? I'm not sure what this means is
Okay,
referring to.
I'll answer it based on what my understanding is. I'm assuming that this refers to the qualification potentially. So there are two options of registering on the online explorers. Obviously, what Christine showed you, all of that content and the program is available on the Learning Hub. And yes, that's absolutely available to everybody, even if they do not want to do the associated qualification. The prices that Christine shared or talked about was the qualification plus the Learning Hub content. If you only want to purchase just the Learning Hub content but not the qualification, that would be $9.50 per program per learner.
If you were to do these qualifications without the Learning Hub and you want to do it totally separately, so if you wanted to register learners outside of this onto a work skills qualification, I think the work skills qualification is somewhere around £24, £23.50, £24, and the units are somewhere very, very similar to that.
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay, I'll move on to the next question. Can any of these bundles be claimed on Pro-AEB funding?
They can be. You can, dependent on the individual circumstances. If they're 19 plus and they tick all the right boxes, then you can pull down from the adult education budget. Yes.
Okay, I'll move on to this next question. I'll read it out. Is there somewhere we can look up the units that can be claimed and the LARA code for the awarding work skills?
Rohini, do you know that one?
Sorry, I would not know the answer to that either. I'm guessing we've got Sarah James on our panel as well. I'm wondering whether, Sarah, you have a potential response to that or understand that?
Well, the codes, I mean, the units and qualifications are funded on LARA. The unit codes are actually included in the in the tutor guides that Christine showed as she was going through. Within there is links to the specifications. You can look at these specifications without going through that by looking on the Pearson website, and we can provide links to those if that's helpful.
Okay, I will move on to the next question. Could Explorer courses be done as part of a traineeship?
There's no reason why not. Sure. I mean, traineeships are quite flexible. It's an umbrella name, isn't it, for lots of activity that you work with your learner. So absolutely, it can work as part of the traineeship.
Okay. There doesn't seem to be any more questions other than the ones I read out.
Okay. Well, what we'll be doing post this, as I mentioned earlier, is we probably have all of your email addresses, so we will be following up with the presentation. And when we have all of the FAQs gathered together, they will all start to be building a document that you'll also be able to get on the website. If you do have any further questions, please do tap into us. We're more than happy to take you through this presentation with any of your colleagues. It's not a problem at all. Just either come through to the FE Centre support, which colleges know, or the web-based learning support for private training providers. And I think that's kind of it, really, yeah. So all I can say is look out in your inbox, have a little look. Have a look online if you look at Explorer courses, because we will also be able to provide a sample of these courses for you. So if you sign up and you just click a few boxes, maybe we'll send that link out as well, Sapna. We'll send a link out where you can have a sample of the courses, so you can have a little look around and a bit of a play yourself.
Indeed, indeed. So as Christine mentioned, these courses are available to sample. So we will send out information as to how you can do that following the webinar. And also, as Christine mentioned, in addition to the presentation and the FAQs that we will submit, a copy of the webinar recording will also be made available on our website. So be on the lookout when this is available.
And please do contact your, if you're a private training provider, tap into your business development managers, and if you're an FE, tap into your curriculum development managers, and we'll all be more than happy to walk you through this with your colleagues as well. And if that's it, then I say thank you very much for giving up your afternoon on this slightly overcast day now, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.